Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Felicity and I'm so glad to have you on this beautiful day here. Today I've gone ahead and filmed this glamorous, what are we going to call it, warm smoky eye with some bold lashes, full coverage skin and just some nude lips. So I took some inspiration from Instagram. If you would like to see more of these videos, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you would like to know how I achieved this look, keep on watching. That makeup look now. I'm really excited. Last night I was thinking about what to film for you guys and what sort of took my fancy. I couldn't really think of anything too much, so I got up this morning and thought I would research a little bit on Instagram, try and take a little bit of inspiration from it, and I found this red smoky eye look. I have been suggested to do a sunset tutorial, so I just seen this one pop up and it really looks like definitely something that looks really appealing, particularly for winter time as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of inspiration from that with those reds that are in there as well, a bit deeper in the eyebrows, and no eyeliner. She's actually got, it appears to be either like a really smoky kohl pencil, eyeliner pencil, or some eyeshadow. So I'll show you how to do it with some black eyeshadow, which is a really handy technique for any type of eye look if you don't want that massive dramatic eye look. The massive dramatic eyeliner look, and sometimes it can come off a little bit shiny as well. So alright, so we'll get into it. I just her name is Chelsea's Makeup. And she looks like she does a phenomenal job. Really dark features too, so it makes it really handy. So let's see how we go with my blonde. I am going to be using the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, and I think it's probably really good timing as well because I'm a massive Jaclyn Hill fan, like phenomenally massive Jaclyn Hill fan. I reckon she might have been one of the first YouTube videos that I actually watched, so she's my diehard. And I'm going to be taking the shades from her palette. I believe I should be able to do it all with just that one palette, and also too, I'm just about to get all her new ones as well, so I'll be sitting up again until 3 o'clock in the morning to get them. Alright, so let's get into it. Very first, I am going to prime my face even. I'm going to do my eyes first, but I'm going to prime my face, and I'm going to be using the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. This is one of my holy grail primers. I only take a small amount as well, nothing too over the top. You can over prime your face, and I'm just going to be working that very much just into my oily section. I don't want to be drying out any extra spots. I'm really only just oily in my T-zone, so I don't want to be applying it all over my face, otherwise it's going to dry me out really badly. Awesome, just in my T-zone there. I am actually going to pick up a tiny little bit. I've got some sample pots of the MAC strobe cream that I do like to use as well, just for those extra areas of my face where they might be a tiny little bit dry. I'm getting towards needing my next. I get dermal planning done on my face, so where they like take a razor and they scrape the layers of skin off and so forth. So I'm getting towards needing that, so I am a tiny little bit dry around the outsides and the very top of my forehead. So I might go around and do that. It's nice and quiet today, so hopefully no interruptions. My 2 boys are at school today. It's back to school in New South Wales. Yay! I'm not excited for them to go back to school. I'm excited for routine. I definitely thrive and excel on routine, so I'm really looking forward to it. And it's really good too. I love being home with him in the afternoons, doing readers and things like that. And whilst I have the opportunity to do it, I'm going to do it. I work usually school hours and then work all day Fridays and Saturdays, so I'm very lucky that I'm able to do that in the studio, and that people are happy to accept that. So I'm a mum above and beyond everything, so I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. Alright, I am going to go ahead and do my eyes first. So what I'm going to use to prime my eyelids, I usually switch it up a little bit, and I'm probably today going to use, I'm going to switch it up again. I'm going to use the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot that you can see there. This is a really great eye-based primer. It just works really well as in concealing at the same time. So I'm just going to take a nice fluffy brush to do that, and I'm going to have my powder ready to go. Like I was saying, this isn't actually a Savvy powder. This is just my RCMA powder in a container that's easy to use. So I'm just going to have everything ready. I'll probably use my little sponge to blur it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and prime my eyelids. Now sometimes I think this MAC in the shade Soft Ochre is a tiny little bit too yellow for me. I'm very opaque, like white skin, opaque, see-through, but I feel like with this beautiful warm tone look it should be not a problem. And sometimes it is a little bit drying as well, so like on an oilier skin type it's a lot better. Just zoom you guys in just a tiny little bit. There we are, so you can see what I'm doing down here. So I'm just going to apply that eye base all over my eyelid, and I am just going to lightly blend it out with my damp beauty sponge here. And then I'm just going to set it with some translucent powder from the RCMA, and I'm just going to push that in. I do go all the way up to my brows as well, all the way down to my lash line. Try not to get into my lashes too much, but definitely make sure it's all concealed, so that in all angles when your eye is all stretched out that it's all concealed. So just go ahead and do the other side. Perfect. So my eyelids are all primed and concealed now, and that's the thing too, there's definitely nothing wrong with using an eyelid primer. There's some really great ones on the market. I don't think I have any within arm's reach that I can show you, but there's some really great eyelid primers. I just prefer a bit more of a concealer consistency, make the base a little bit more opaque, and it just covers that little bit nicer. So like I was saying in my very first video, there is no right or wrong in makeup. You do you and stick with it. These are just some of the suggestions that work for me. Alright, so we're going to get into the shadows now, and I'm going to do the best I can in showing you the shades. The first brush I'm going to pick up a nice fluffy brush just so I can get through the crease properly and diffuse it out a little bit. I'm going to use my crease and contour DAACK brush that I have. So this is just my DAACK fluffy brush, just as long as it's nice and fluffy and you're able to blow out those edges to definitely get that really heavy smoky eye as well. And I'm probably just going to do a really light colour to start with, so I'm just going to grab this third shade along in the palette here, and I'm just going to pop that colour all through my crease. Just nice and softly. I tend to position my eyeshadow just a tiny little bit higher than normal. I have very hooded eyelids, so I like to work with the shape of eyes, particularly with working with clients and so forth. So I do like to position it just a little bit higher. No joke, sometimes it just gets ridiculously high and you've got to bring it back down, and that's okay because it's not perfect every single time. So I'm just going to place that colour straight through the crease, and you can already see it coming through. It's just a light transition colour. And as you can see, that Soft Ochre paint pot that I have there is working as a really brilliant base for my eyeshadow. And it's really, it really helps blend it out, particularly if you set it. There's a really great new trend happening with, or technique, I shouldn't say trend, it's a technique, about not setting the eyelid base and leaving your concealer or eyeshadow primer wet or without setting it. It's brilliant, you know, it works really wonderfully. I'm not a fan. I don't know whether it's because I can't do it properly, to be blatantly honest, or I'm just not a fan of it. Some clients' eyelids I definitely can, mine I can't, and I sometimes really think it comes down to the texture of the eyelids as well, as to whether, and also the product that you use as well. So there's a really, really great product on the market at the moment that you can leave wet, and that seems to work every single time, and I'll bring that into some other videos as well. Okay, so just moving on to the next color, I'm probably going to start going into those warm colors now as well. I'm probably going to pick up this next shade just in the center here of the palette. I'm probably going to want to start changing my brushes. So the next brush I'm going to take will be my Pro Blend brush by DAACK again. Now this one is just it's probably not the ideal one that I would want to use for this step, but it's pretty much all I have here. Yes, I know I need a better range of brushes here at home. And this one's just a nice fluffy brush as well, just so I can blend out those edges as well. So like I said, I'm just going to pick up that middle color just here, and I'm going to blend that back again through my crease, because we're going to do an all over lid color as per the photo inspiration that we had. But the thing is I want to keep it in the crease and then just bring it down at the end. I prefer doing it that way so that my crease is all blown out, and I'm not going to put too much color through my crease. So as you can see, I do like doing the crease first and then just topping a little bit over the eyelid. I say it 100 times, you do whatever you would like to do. These are just how I prefer to do things. I've seen people do their eyelids first and then drag it up. Sometimes I like doing that, but I feel like I pick up a tiny bit too much product when I do my eyelids first and then blend into the crease. So I prefer to do my crease first. It's going to pick up some of that shade, and I'm basically just going to really lightly, I'm not pushing too hard, just blend that through my crease. Now this shade, this shadow look we're doing is an all over lid color, so I don't need to sort of stop at the ends. And just really, really, really lightly. I am bringing it up a tiny little bit as well, but then I'm just going to go ahead and pick up my fluffy blend brush that I had at the beginning, and I'm just going to use that to very, very lightly buff over that top line and blend it in with my transition color. Beautiful. Awesome. Go ahead and do the second eye. I like doing both eyes in one go, so as time goes on I might just do one eye for you, but I do prefer to do both. I just know that if something changes in the process, I can keep both eyes symmetrical, and I can just keep looking and making sure that it's exactly what I'm after, and if I need to adjust one, add a little bit more color or what have you, I can do it as I'm going, as opposed to trying to remember what color I laid down, where, how much I put into it. So I'm going to do both eyes. Perfect. So I'm just going to run back over again with my fluffy brush just to make sure there's no harsh lines. Okay, I'm probably going to stay with that brush that I had, the second brush, the Pro Blend brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of a darker color. Now this one I really want to keep quite tight as well, so when I mean keep it quite tight in my crease, because I really don't want to get rid of any of that blending or the color gradients that I've just laid down. So I'm probably going to go in with the shade next to it, just this shade just here. Oops, you can't see it with my brush. This one just here, and it's a little bit richer in the burgundy or red color, and I'm just going to lay that one really tightly in the crease, really softly as well, and just intensify that crease up. Like I was saying before, I'm not too concerned about my actual eyelid just yet. I do that part at the last. Perfect. So I'm just blending out that color. I'm going to pick up another bit, do the other side. Alright, so I'm really happy with that. It is blended out to what I'm after. There's a tiny little line in this one, but I feel like once I get that lid colour on, it will be a-okay. Actually, oh god, sometimes my eyelids go numb with how much I blend. That's a-okay. Perfect. Cool. Alright, very good. I just come a little bit closer and just show you what I have here. And then down here. Awesome. Very good. Okay, moving on to that final lid colour. I'm going to keep the crease really quite dark, but I'm actually going to pick up a tiny little bit lighter shade, and I'm going to go more this red toned colour just here. It's pretty much what the Chelsea's Makeup had on hers, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that one up. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just thinking of the brush I'm going to use. A very, very similar brush to the Pro Blend that I just used, but this one's just a Kylie Jenner one that came in the palette. Yeah, that's it. The palette that I purchased. So I'm just going to use that one, and this is the one I'm going to pack all over the lid. So I'm just going to pick up that red color, and basically I'm just very lightly at the moment just patting that onto the lid. I am doing a tiny little bit of blending or dragging as I'm going, but at the moment I'm just trying to keep it really quite tight so that that bright color does not go over that section that I've blended out. Going to do the other side so they match. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So then that's one layer down. You can stop here. You can complete the eye look from here. I'm just going to add a tiny little bit more depth to it. So I'm actually going to pick up the red color that I just placed down. So this is the red color that I just placed down just here. And then this is the deeper, oops, sorry, wrong direction. This is the deeper color that I put through my crease. So I'm actually going to mix these two shades together and pop them all over my lid. Same spot as where I just placed that red. I just feel like I want it a tiny little bit darker. It seems to be a little bit too light on my eyes. So I'm just gonna mix those two together. Oh, that's, yeah, brilliant. Exactly what I'm after. And I'm just going to pat that all over my lid. Perfect. Exactly what I was after. Perfect. Very good. I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up that DAACK Pro Blend brush that I had through the crease with the darker color, and I'm just going to very, very lightly buff out that edge again, just in case I took that lid color a tiny little bit too high. Let's blend that one out. So a lot of people ask too, can you overblend? Yes, definitely you can overblend. Overblending is sometimes when you push a little bit too hard as well, you're actually picking up the concealer or the eyeshadow base that you place down is usually what happens when you overblend. So try not to overblend. You can see how far down the brush handle my fingers actually are holding it, just so it is super duper light. Now I am running over the very, very top of it. I am picking up a tiny little bit of that red, I believe, just to make sure that it is fully smoky and fully blended out. Very good. I'm really happy with that. I really like that. It matches my background, so maybe I took a little bit more inspiration from my background than the photo. Okay, so what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go ahead and do that shadow eyeliner look that she's done there. I am going to do it now prior to doing the rest of my face. I don't want any of that black shadow to fall on my skin, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, do my lashes, and go from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up that black shadow shade from the Jaclyn Hill palette that we have been using. I really like this palette. It has so many options in there, and so many, you know, different pigment types. So whether they're glitters or pressed glitters, shimmers, there's some duochromes in there, and lots of different matte shades as well. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up my little mirror because I do need to see a little bit closer. I'm going to pick up an angled brush, and I just hope this one is tight enough for what I'm after. So I'm going to pick up my DAACK angled definer brush here, and I'm just going to pick up a tiny little bit of shadow, tap off any of the excess that I have, just to make sure that I'm ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm sorry if the mirror covers or focuses in, I'm basically just going to very lightly dust along my lash line. This is how you start achieving the normal liner, so position it exactly where it is. And the best thing about shadow to do this line is that it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. The shadow gives that smokiness to it, and helps diffuse those edges. So, and this is a really great tip too if you are learning to do eyeliner, or you really would like to wear eyeliner but it's just way too harsh for you. A shadow, black shadow or brown shadow is perfect. So I'm just going to switch that around so I can get to the tail of my eye, and I'm just going to flick that up and diffuse the top edge so that it's not a harsh line. I'm just going to go ahead and apply my false eyelashes now. I am using these beautiful faux mink wispy lashes. Yes, this is a full-blown plug because these lashes are amazing. They're all faux mink in the range. They're very, very fluffy. They have a black lash band which makes them even easier to apply. The lash band is not hard at all. I hope you can see this, but they're very, very bendy, which makes them easy to apply to the eyes. They are DAACK. Amazing, amazing lash range. There is 10 in the range, starting from very, very nice wispy lashes right up to full voluptuous lashes. Is probably the easiest way to explain it. We will get some of those up on my channel, but today I'm going to be using the style Taffy. So each set of lashes in the DAACK range too, I just want to very quickly mention, is named by somebody in my family. So I have some really very, very strong and inspirational women in my family, and each one of them have named their own set of lashes, and also my best friend has gone ahead and named a pair as well. So as we go and I use those types of lashes, I will explain where the name came from. So these ones are named Taffy. This is actually after my mum, so I guess that's pretty cool that I get to, in one of my first videos, use a pair from my mum, one of the biggest inspirational ladies in my life. My mum is amazing. She helps me with my boys, and I wish I could buy everything in the world to say thank you, but it's just not possible, so we'll just do it with naming a set of lashes after her. So Taffy is her nickname growing up, and then when I went through and asked all the ladies in my family to name a set of lashes, this is what she come up with. So these beautiful, nice, wispy, I'm holding the end so it's really hard to see, so I hope you can see these. These really beautiful, beautiful wispy lashes are Taffy. Okay, so the very first step that I do is I pick up some of my Duo lash glue. In studio I do prefer to use the Model Rock glue, but this is all I have here at home, so I'm just going to use this one. Guys, so I've just applied my false lashes for you there. Like I was saying, I will get an in-depth video for you happening about how to apply false lashes. I'm really mad at that glue. It appears that it's gone and separated, so my lashes are stuck down, so dodgy, and it's really annoyed the crap out of me, but I don't have any other lash glue at home, so please excuse the one blob just here when you get my close-up later on. It makes me really mad. Purely, you try so hard when it comes to makeup, and you just hope that everything you pull out is going to work for the day, but these are the things that happen, you know. Like, I don't believe this has anything to do with my inability to do makeup. It's just sometimes it happens, sometimes it's not 100%. you know, sometimes it does take 10 goes to get your eyelashes on, and sometimes you get one on and you're like, all right, this is as far as I'm getting today. But that's real life. That's exactly what happens. The glue here, and it's gone really, really watery as well. So definitely for my next video, I have my shopping list beside me. For my next video, I'll definitely grab my favorite glue, which basically is just a, you know, it's perfect. It's brilliant. Really, really good stuff. Okay, so moving on to the next step, I am just going to very, very lightly wipe my skin off, just for some of that fallout that's happened underneath my eyes. I'm just going to grab just a little cotton pad, just a really easy little cotton pad, and I don't have anything sort of makeup remover wise at my desk, so I'm just going to go ahead and use some of my toning mist to get rid of it. I don't have too much fallout. I really like this palette for that reason. There's not too much fallout, so I'm pretty impressed with that. So I'm just going to go up and clean up underneath my eyes, and I'm not going to worry about a straight edge too much. I do want that full blown out smoky look, so I'm not going to do a sharp edge on this one today. I'm just going to clean up any of the sort of where it's sitting. Particularly using that black shadow as well, you may get some dots that have fallen onto your face, and you want to catch those before you get to foundation and start mixing them together. Perfect. All right, I'm really happy with that. I already have my primer on, but I probably should put a tiny little bit more back here just from where I've wiped it. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop a really, really small amount. So like really, really small, just back into those sections that I just wiped away. Perfect. Awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead with my foundation now. I'm going to use my Holy Grail foundation, and as you can see, it's definitely my Holy Grail. There is not much left in the bottle, so let's hope there's enough for today. This is the DAACK Studio Blend Cover Foundation, and I am in the shade 102. Oh, it's squirting. Let's see if I can get any more out. Ah, I'm at the end. Ah, I have another tube here. I do. Which is really unusual for me, because having my own brand, I'm one of those ones who actually wait, like scrape out the barrel before I go and help myself to any of my other products. A lot of people say, oh, you're so lucky, you've got an abundance amount of makeup. I don't take it. I like, if I was a little bit worse than what I am, I'd actually pay for it myself, even though I already do pay for it. Anywho, all right, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab some of this foundation. It is a tiny little bit darker than my skin tone, but like I've said in some of my other videos, I do prefer that because we can see I am Casper White, and I do love adding just that tiny little bit of color to my face. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I am using my beauty sponge to apply this one. I do prefer using a sponge to apply this DAACK foundation only because of the amazing coverage, and I like being able to achieve that with a sponge as opposed to a brush. And I also like pushing it into my pores as well. Sounds gross, but it's true. Perfect. Look at that down my nose. Amazing, amazing, amazing coverage. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this all over my face. So I've got that all over my skin now, and as you can see, I'm all one color. Hail to the benefits of your bronzers and contours, because I'm definitely going to need that. But I have a tiny little bit left on my hand, and there is just some little tiny spots that I wouldn't mind going over a little bit. So I'm just going to, I love this foundation because it does dry relatively quickly, and I can go in with that second layer as quickly as I need to. So I'm just going to use the last of that just in those cheek sections as well. Perfect. Make sure it's all blended out into the hairline nicely as well. And the benefit with this foundation as well is it doesn't seem to cake in my hairline like a lot of other foundations do. As soon as us blondies get foundation anywhere near my hairline, it just turns into a hot mess and it is disgusting. Okay, so down my neck, I don't mind dragging it down my neck. I don't want super full coverage. I just want enough that it blends nicely. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and conceal. Now I do like two concealers. I like using the Tarte Shape Tape. I like it for the coverage, but I can't use too much of it. It just really dries out my under eyes just a tiny little bit too much. So I add a little bit of hydration just with the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, as you can see there. And I like to combine the two. So I'll just go ahead and pop my Tarte Shape Tape down. So I got my, go ahead and just add a bit of this Maybelline just to give me a bit of that hydration back. Just go straight over the top, and I am not going to use the Maybelline to highlight with today, so I'm just going to highlight in between my brows, down the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow, and the top of my chin. And you'll see when that's blended out how much it just highlights those sections a tiny little bit as well. Pick up my little mini beauty sponge for today. I do like that going around my eyes. It's just a little bit easier to maneuver, and just go ahead with my RCMA powder. So I have all that concealer now blended in with my sponge. I'm just going to go ahead and set that concealer, and I'm just taking my RCMA translucent powder, and I'm just going to push that into my under eyes. I don't tend to bake my under eyes, like I was saying before. They are a little bit on the dry side. I do try and combat that with my intensive eye cream that I have from DAACK. But at the same time too, concealer just immediately dries it out for me. So I don't like to bake too much under my eyes, down my T-zone where I'm oily, lucky me, and just push that in. Awesome. So now I'm ghost white. Story of my life. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick up my pressed powder. Now this is the DAACK pressed powder that I have here. It is in a really light shade, but it doesn't have much coverage to it, so the pigment's not too high, so it is very, very universal for other skin types as well. Today I'm going to take my Morphe R2 brush that is here, the powder brush. So I'm just going to take that one, pick up my powder, and I'm just going to push that into my skin today. Don't like dragging it on my face. I don't like moving any of the work that I've already set down on my face, but my neck I'm more than happy to. Just to blend it, make it a little bit easier going down to my chest and so forth. Makeup all over my earrings. I don't reckon there's a time that I don't ever get makeup all over my earrings. Oh yeah, there is. The time that I take my earrings out. Anywho, okay. All over. Pushing it in and done. Okay, today I'm going to contour and highlight using the new DAACK contour and highlight palette, if I can get it without dropping everything else. Bum, bum, bum. This is the palette just here, and it is gorgeous. Okay, so these are the shades that we have here. There's 6 shades in there, 3 contours and 3 highlights. Depending on the skin tones, you can see which ones I am the lightest, obviously. So I'm going to pick up this shade just here, and I'm going to start bronzing I've said this in some other videos as well. I'm a bronzer first. I love bronzing, and then I'd go over with my contour. You do whichever one suits you and is easier. Just going to pick that up, and I'm actually picking that up on my DAACK Sculpt and Blush brush that I have here. You can see it is an angled fluffy brush. It is a little bit easier for me. And I'm just going to start carving out, or bronzing actually, because I do prefer to bronze a little bit first before I go ahead and contour. So I'm just going to start very lightly bronzing up the face. I love these powders. They are buildable. So that means that you can start ever so lightly and build up from there. And it's not like you're wasting a whole heap of product as well. They're pressed nicely, nice and tight actually, so that there's no fallout, and you get the right amount each time. So it is a little bit of a build up, but they are amazing. So I'm just going to go ahead and bronze my face over my forehead. Blessed with a big forehead. Using a hair of my brush. Down the sides of my face. My cheekbones. Pretty. And then up underneath my chin. That up a tiny little bit more before I start contouring. Awesome, brilliant. I love it. It's beautiful. Really pretty colors. It really suits the skin tone really nicely, and it's definitely buildable. All right, so the next shade I'm going to go in with, and my favorite brush to use that just is the little free brush that comes with your Benefit products, like your Hoola bronzer, your Hoola light, and so forth. I love this for contouring. It is brilliant. I'm going to pick up just that second shade along here and just pick up a small amount of that, and I'm just going to sharpen up that edge, not too ridiculously sharp. Make sure it's all blended out. Same on this side. Oh, I love this brush for contouring. I always contour under my chin because I was blessed with a double chin, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to contour it and get rid of it. Toodles, it's gone. Okay, and then just a tiny little bit of contour up on my forehead. I love how instantly a bronzer and contour combo can change the whole shape of your face. You know what I mean? Like, it is just incredible. It's instant. You know, like massive difference in what, like 2 minutes work. Heavy contour and bronzer. Love it. I am going to take a tiny little bit of the yellow powder, or the banana powder that is just in the top section here, and I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of that up underneath my eyes, just to brighten up underneath there, and on this other side. Yes, it definitely brightens in the center of my forehead, basically everywhere that I highlighted before. Top of my lip, just some on my chin. And I just like that it just helps tidy up that little bit that I might have blown over with my bronzer or contour, and it's brilliant for that section. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blush now, or apply my blush, not blush myself, but apply my blush. I'm going to go ahead and use the DAACK shade in Cutie Peach, and I may actually apply some of my other favorite, which is the Kylie Cosmetics X-rated blush. Now these were really low reviewed, so not a lot of people liked these because they don't have too much pigment in them. You can see how much I've actually used of this one here, because they don't have a lot of pigment. The DAACK one is full of pigment. It is a very bright color, but I prefer a buildable blush as well. There's nothing worse than picking up your blush brush and popping it onto your cheeks or the apples of your cheeks, and you look like, I don't know, you've run a marathon because your face is so, you know, rosy. Don't get me wrong, if you like that much blush, go ahead and do it, but I don't like that much. I like a really nice, like, soft flush, so I like to mix the two together. So I just pick up a tiny little bit of each and just basically, I do like the stippling motion with my blush and then blending it in. I like the evenness between it. So just a small amount of each. And then up onto the other side. And I reckon it makes a huge difference. I didn't stipple that side first. I just brushed it on, and you can tell a massive difference when you don't stipple as opposed to just blending it straight on. And I love just that tiny little bit of flushness on my cheeks there, which is just enough for me. Sometimes I like to go rosier as well, but because of the eye makeup look, I definitely want to keep it as it is. Okay, my next step I'm going to do is my eyebrows. Now, I do love a powder brow, but when I do such a dramatic eye look like this, I do love to use my pomades. I did start out with the Anastasia pomades, but I've moved on and I use these for my clients because they're so smooth and moussey and really, really easy to work with. And these are the Chi Chi Brow Pomade. And I use the shade Soft Brown. These are brilliant. They last so long on the eyes. They don't sort of run with moisture, and they're permanent. You have to scrub them off at the end of the day. So for a beautiful brow, like a beautiful sharp brow look, these are brilliant. Okay, so I'm just going to use the spoolie that's on my eyebrow brush. I'm just going to brush my hairs up. I'm just going to go ahead and do my brows actually, and this might be another video that I film for you guys, will be a brow tutorial on how I do my own brows. So I'm just going to pick up some of that pomade on my brush, and I do like putting it onto my hand and just warming it up onto my hand first, and then go ahead and fill my brows in. My brows are all done. I do like to use the spoolie and brush out anything that's sort of too harsh. And I'm going to grab a tiny little bit of concealer and clean up these brows. Some people like doing their brows before they even start their eye look, and you know, you completely do what you would like to do. I will do that in another video for you so you can see how to clean them up prior to doing your eye look. But for the moment, I'm just going to grab a tiny little bit of concealer. I'm actually just using foundation. This foundation is so super full coverage that you can use it. I'm just going to use my concealer brush, and I'm just very quickly going to shape around my brows. And as you can see, it just highlights them as well. So you can see how very quickly it just highlighted that brow, and it just tidies up those edges as well, to make sure that your brows are super sharp. I prefer super sharp brows. You don't need to, but it's completely up to you. I find brows so personal. So if you're in the studio and I ask, you know, how do you like your brows and things like that, brows are so personal that I don't ever get offended if somebody prefers them one way or another way, or they want to change this about their brows. It's so yeah, just however you like them, because everybody is so different. Alright, you can see how instantly it just sharpens them. It's crazy. And then just this side, just sharpen them up underneath here. Perfect. Awesome. Very good. I really like those today. Nice, quick, easy job. Yes. You see, you can tell when I'm concentrating because I stop talking. Oh goodness, maybe I should stop talking more often. Okay, so I'm happy with the way those are. I really like them. They shape my face very nicely. So I'm going to move on to the underneath my eyes now. And this is where you smoke it out and finish that lower lash line. I'm going to just start with that first color that we use, that very, very first transition color. And I'm basically just going to buff that from outer to inner corner exactly how we did the eye. So the coloring and the layering of the eyeshadow is exactly the same as how we did the top. And then I'm just going to pick up, and you can already see how very, very quickly it's already starting to smoke out that lower lash line. Alright, so the next shade I'm going to pick up is the next shade that we did. So it's that red colour in the centre here. I'm just going to pick up a small amount, still on this brush that I had. Sorry, I didn't tell you what it was. It's the DAACK Eye Dome brush. It's a lot. So it's the DAACK Eye Dome, and it's like a soft dome-shaped blender brush. It's perfect for the under eyes. Very good. Now I'm going to put a tiny little bit of that deeper red color on the bottom, and that's going to be it for me. I'm not a massive fan on myself, particularly of eyeliner on the bottom lash line. It's just a little bit too deep for me, a bit too dark. So I am just going to pick up a little bit of a tighter brush, and I'm just going to sweep a little bit of a darker color on the outer. I have a Kylie very similar to that dome blender that I just used. This one's a bit stiff, so I don't expect anything great out of it, but I just want to stamp a tiny little bit of that red color on the outside. Yeah, brilliant. Just to tie it all together. Not a great deal. I'm not going to flick it because the bristles on this brush are so like synthetic and really, really fake and unable to blend out. So I don't want to flick it because I know as soon as I try and blend with this brush, it's just going to flick a hot mess everywhere. Alright, so my underneath my eyes are done now. I reckon I got that brush in my eye about 3 or 4 times in that process. So there. Oh, some of the things you do. Okay. So I have that on now. I'm going to apply some mascara. I'm going to use my go-to mascara at the moment, which is the Benefit Roller Lash Mascara. I really, really like this. I like the brush that it has, and that's what I really prefer is the actual brush. So this one's more of like a round dome-shaped rubber brush, so it's actually really, really brilliant for getting in there. Just going to go ahead and apply some mascara to my lashes. So I've got some mascara on my lashes now, on my bottom lashes as well. So there's only 2 final steps to go. One would be highlight my face, and the second one would be to give myself some lips back again, considering they're covered over with foundation. So I'm going to highlight next, and I'm going to use a combination of 2 highlights. Back to that original photo, she had a really nice gold inner corner highlight, so I'm going to find a nice gold that I can highlight with, and then I'm going to use my DAACK Twilight highlight. I love this, and you'll soon very quickly see how awesome it is. It's more of a natural overall glow, but it's very subtle, and it's just enough like well, it's not the subtlest, as you can see there, but it's very, very beautiful. It adds more of a glow as opposed to like a big reflecting shine all over your face. But yeah, I love this highlighter. This is pretty much all I use now. Definitely on my Cupid's bow. Awesome. And I'm just going to put a tiny little bit here. I like adding it just a tiny weeny bit here. Okay, I'm not going to highlight my brow bone. I'm going to save that for a white shadow. I've been using like a matte white eyeshadow at the moment to highlight my brow bones, and it's been amazing. Like, it's so much nicer than actually a shimmer. So I'm just going to pick up, I have the, just on my desk, easy to grab, is the KKW and Mario palette, and in that palette is just a white shadow. So I'm just going to grab that one. I will go ahead and use this palette for a video as well, but I'm just going to, wow, see, a white shadow is just as good as a shimmer. Look at that, it's amazing. A white shadow, it's brilliant. Oh, just enough, it's brilliant, love it. Awesome, very good. Now I'm just going to find that gold shade, and I don't think there's actually one in that Morphe palette, the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. So I might have to grab out my DAACK palette that I have. I know that there's a gold in there, so we might use that one. And I'm just going to, oh yes, we might use this really broken one that I have here. And I'm just going to pick up a brush and apply that gold to my inner corners. Yeah, exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, very nice. Exactly what I was after. Hers is a tiny little bit golder than this, but I'm really happy with this. I really like this. Awesome. All right, final stage would be for my lips, and I really reckon, given the eye look that we've gone for today, I really do think we should keep it nice and nude. You definitely can branch out and add a beautiful red color to it as well, but I really think with this look I'm going to keep it a little bit nuder. So I'm going to pick up my new DAACK lip liners. Yay! And I'm probably going to go, I reckon I'm going to go a little bit browner today, actually. I think I'm going to pick up my Tranquil. So it's a really beautiful, like, brown color here. I just really think it'd suit this look. It does have a little bit of a warm tone to it as opposed to a cool. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick this one up here. I am going to line my lips, and I'm going to use the new DAACK Infinity Lip Pencil in the shade Simple. So it's just more of a like a nude color. It's really beautiful, and they're so creamy. You'll soon see how beautiful and creamy these are. Oh, look, they just like glide on. Oh, so smooth. Look, I got a lip back. So beautiful. Now I'm just lining my lip really nicely, because it's a nude, sometimes nude lipsticks can kind of, they all blend into the skin and things like that if they're too nude. So I do like lining them and make sure that they're lined very well so that they kind of stand out a little bit at the same time. You don't want that blend in, otherwise it just looks like you've put nothing on your lips really. So I'm just going to take that Tranquil lipstick and apply that. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Very good. I like that shade. Awesome. Alright guys, so this is the completed look here. Like I said, we take some inspiration from our photograph of Instagram. I'm really impressed with the way it turned out. I definitely love my contouring and highlighting palette that I have, and the eye look turned out really nicely. The lips are spot on. So yeah, definitely if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a massive thumbs up, and don't forget to like and hit the notification bell on my channel. The videos are going to be going up weekly. It's in the very beginning, it's looking like it's be twice a week, so I would love to have you here on my channel. Would love to introduce the rest of my family to you and show you some more great makeup hits, tips and tricks. Yeah, so I really hope you liked this video. Everything I've used will be listed down below, and if it hasn't, definitely leave me a comment or ask a question, and I'll get back to you. Yeah, so I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you and goodbye.